Good morning, first graders. It's Miss Munoz for math today. Today we are on page 141 of your student journal, and we're going to continue with what we've been learning. We're on Unit 9, Lesson 3, and today's title is titled Fourths. So our goal today is that today I will partition circles and rectangles into quarters and shade 1/4. So quarters is another word for fourths. And remember, we kind of talked about that with money, that some of you might know that 4 quarters equals $1. So a quarter is 1/4 of a dollar. So quarters and fourths means the same word. Okay, so our vocabulary, remember me, our first word is partition, which I said another word is sometimes we hear cut. And it says to divide objects into shares. And remember, the key thing is your shares have to be equal. They have to be fair or equal shares. And then today, we're going to be doing fourths or quarters, which is 1 of 4 equal shares. And yesterday, we talked about what the word shade means. It means we color, but remember, it's light. So I'm going to lightly shade. Now, yesterday I suggested a crayon. If you have a crayon, you'd want to take that out right now because we're going to be using that again. All right, oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I moved the screen. Okay, so I put down my green pen, which is what made the screen shake, and I'm grabbing my red pen. So you can set your pencil down and you can just watch. Okay, my first question that I'm going to do for you says, partition each shape to show quarters, and then shade a different quarter in each shape. Okay, so remember, partition means I'm going to cut, and quarters means there's going to be 4 parts. So what I could do first is, if I'm going to shade this into fourths, I could cut it this way. Okay, and they want me to shade a different quarter. So a different quarter means 1. So this would be a quarter. I could have also done it this way again, but maybe this time I'm going to shade a different one. And I could maybe do it diagonal lines. Sometimes that's a little trickier. I have to be really careful, and maybe I want to shade this one. And maybe I'll try the diagonal lines again. But I have to make sure my shares are equal, and maybe this time I'm going to color this one. So there's lots of ways to do this. The only thing that would make it wrong would be if you didn't have 4 equal shares. So you have to have 4 shares and they have to be equal. Okay, let's look at our next one. This time I have rectangles. So I have to cut or partition them into quarters. So maybe on this one I'm going to use vertical lines. Maybe on this one I'm going to use horizontal lines. Maybe on this one I'm going to use 1 vertical and 1 horizontal. And remember, I said I can't do 2 diagonal, because if I do 2 diagonal, they don't really have equal parts. So maybe I'll do this again and then just shade a different quarter in. Okay, so I divided them all into 4 equal shares or 4 equal quarters, and then I can shade 1 in for each one. So maybe this time. Okay, let's look at our square. So for our square, I might want to do vertical lines again. And maybe I'm going to do horizontal lines. Maybe I'm going to do 1 vertical and 1 horizontal. And a square, I actually can do it like this. I can do like, as I told you with a grilled cheese sandwich, I like to do either in halves or in fourths, but I like the triangles. And notice how these triangles look the same, but when I did it with the rectangle, my triangles didn't really look the same. So in a square it works, but in the rectangle it doesn't. Okay, so now let's shade in 1/4. So I can shade in that one. Maybe I'm going to shade in this one in the middle. I can shade in just wants me to shade 1/4 in each shape. And I could have chosen any one I wanted. Okay, so let's try this together now. I'm going to put down my red and pick up my green. And today we are on page 142 together. So again, if you had a crayon that was light colored and you could shade, that would be great. Okay, so they want us to partition or cut each shape to show quarters, and quarters means 4 parts. And then they want us to shade one of the 4 pieces. So I think for this first one, maybe we'll just do it like that. And that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. And then we can choose to shade one in. Okay, for our rectangle, maybe let's do vertical lines. Vertical go up and down. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. And we can choose to shade any one in. I might choose to shade the last one in. Okay, and for this one, then let's do a vertical line and a horizontal. Sometimes we cut sandwiches that way too. Okay, so now let's shade in one. Okay, so boys and girls, you can use these to help you, and you could also go back and watch the video again if you need more help. But I want you to turn the page, and I want you to try to do this page on your own, which is page 143, and then I also want you to try 144 on your own. Okay, have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.